Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest ghost and horror stories encounters video. Once again, I'm showcasing another very strange, very bizarre, but creepy encounter from a reddit.com website, but this one from a subreddit called The Truth Is Here. I like this one more and more because it tends to showcase far more detailed stories, especially when it comes to almost like playing out like a novel. You know about that more here in just a moment. Little preview though, this user never actually encounters what they ran into. It seems like this was something that was just out there in the middle of nowhere, completely either invisible or hidden. But the dread, the absolute dread that this user had, that's what stood out. And I'll mention more about my own experience on that towards the end. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's share that here. It's from a user by the name of Not Isuna, and they titled theirs as Weird Experience in Canyonlands at Night. So here's what they state. This happened only a week ago. My girlfriend and I were visiting the Arches and Canyonland area for the weekend and ended up heading out pretty late from Moab to get into Canyonlands, which is about 45 minutes to an hour's drive. A few years previous, I'd gone there myself and stayed until the moon rose because that meant people were leaving, and as a field recordist, that meant a quiet environment to record in. That night in 2020, the moon was bright and there was a few night photographers there I ended up hanging out with, and it was generally a surreal experience and I felt completely safe. Hoping to have a similar time again with my girlfriend along for the ride, and forgetting the fact that maybe the clouds would largely block moonlight that night, I drove us up. It was pretty dark before we even made it 15 minutes along the drive there. Having been there, more specifically Mesa Arch twice before, and thus being a borderline spiritual place for me, I didn't even think about danger or anything of the sort. Despite that, I had a sixth sense type of gut feeling pretty early on that we shouldn't head up there that night. Not wanting to freak myself out or my girlfriend, I didn't say anything or think much about it and chalked it up to just being nervous because it was dark. There was a certain vibe along the roads leading up, and we noticed that there were people leaving the park, but no one coming in ahead or behind us. The instinct to not continue hit me subtly a few more times, and I kept pushing it away like an idiot. I've been very familiar with these instincts over the past years, and they served me well, as far as I can tell. I think I genuinely thought I was just scared because it was dark. And so we ended up at the Mesa Arch parking lot where two cars were packing up and heading out. When they left, it was almost completely dark with only the faintest glow of moon through the clouds and not a person around anywhere near us. Canyonlands is pretty remote. And so we get our backpacks on, grab a couple of things, and my girlfriend makes sure I got my CCW. She doesn't usually care much, so this struck me as indication that she was maybe concerned too. We start heading up. It's a pretty short trail, maybe 1/4 mile. All we wanted to do was get to this little bow-like area, the main destination, and hang out and record some sounds. The area is pretty open, with trees both live and dead scattered around, bushes and small cacti, and rocky slopes that can be climbed in a few steps. It's a pretty dope scene in daytime. I've never felt uneasy here previously. We've been doing a bit of travel vlogs so far, so I continue doing that. I generally get goosebumps and chills every single time I think about this next part. It was the weirdest feeling I've ever felt. I've felt instinctually that I should get out of here. I'm being watched, etc. type feelings before, and have several stories to tell from those, but I've never felt what I felt while vlogging. This might not seem relevant, but for context, the field recording I do is largely of gathering wood and rock sounds. Canyonlands has Navajo sandstone and juniper wood, both of which sound wonderful when tumbled and rolled around. I think of field recording as an art, yes, but also as a way to appreciate a land in a closer way, at least for me, than just taking pictures of it. I feel like I'm capturing the essence of a location in a very respectful way. So as I'm vlogging, I felt something I can only describe as a need to show that I was there peacefully and with respectful intent. I didn't hear anything or see anything that would indicate that I needed to show I was here on peaceful business, but I felt it so strongly. Again, I didn't want to scare my girlfriend, so I didn't say this. I figured I was just feeling on edge, being in near complete darkness. We could barely see our own feet on the easy open trail. We kept our lamps off to let our eyes adjust to the glow, but I turned mine on to read a plaque. My girlfriend mentioned I should probably turn it off so I don't create shadows and freak us out, so I turned it back off. I also felt like I was spotlighting myself by having it on, and I was about to turn it back off before she said that. We continued, and the uneasiness only grew. This lasted until we both reached the same exact spot on the trail and stopped at the same time in silence. I think we should go back, my girlfriend said, and I agreed. Never have I felt a stronger feeling of being unwelcome in a place. It felt like we hit a barrier. Not only did I feel unwelcome, it was more particularly the feeling of intruding on a congregation, a meeting, a gathering that we were not invited to. I don't know how to describe this feeling at all besides that, and it was not a conscious thought. It was just there, as these kinds of instincts tend to be. At that point, I realized I've been ignoring these feelings long enough, and it was most certainly time to go. I have no idea what was going on in that little bowl that we were about to reach, but I didn't want to find out. We made our way quickly back to the car. As soon as we get back, we hear a large pack of coyotes quiet nearby, but in the opposite direction we've been heading on the trail. If we continued on that trail, it was not coyotes that we would have run into. Still, this felt like an additional cue to leave, and my girlfriend said, "That's our cue." I wanted badly to record their yips, but common sense took over and we got the hell out of there. The road, completely devoid of any sign of other people, was particularly eerie. Driving back wasn't just trying to get back to our campsite in Moab. It felt like we were escaping, like when you turn off the lights and run up the stairs. Now, relatively safe in our car, we discuss what just happened. Every single unspoken, strong gut feeling I had had, my girlfriend had felt the exact same things at the same times. Both felt the need to show someones that we meant no harm by vlogging and being chill outwardly. Both of us felt multiple times, both on the drive there and on the trail back, that we shouldn't go. Both of us felt at the same time that we were like actors on a stage being watched by a multitude of something. Both of us felt unwelcome, like we were crashing a party. Both of us felt that we needed to go at the same exact point on the trail. None of these were spoken aloud to each other at any point until we were back on the road GTFOing. As we drove, the moon became visible for a bit. I'm not familiar with moon stuff, but it had been a full moon a few days before, and that night it was large, not full though, and red. This was because of the red sand in the air from the windy day we've had, I think, but my girlfriend said that that also meant bad juju. Looking into the history of the region and even stories of strange happenings at Mesa Arch, I am sure we avoided something strange and or dangerous. I wanted to share this story here. Sometimes the places you love can still get spooky things going on when you're there at the wrong time. Then that's it. That's everything from the user, not Isuna. So let's talk about that here. As you saw in my preview, yeah, they didn't really ever encounter whatever it was that was giving them the bad juju. They obviously had multitudes of warnings, those 6 cents that he was mentioning, but they still marched through and then they hit that wall. By the way, Canyonlands is apparently there in Utah. It's Native American land. So if someone knows more information about that area, if it truly is something bad, something eerie, something forbidden, something that's there that's just dreadful or evil, let me know. And then that way they'll be able to, people to read or seeing this will be able to see more information on that. But yeah, they hit that wall. They hit that wall, and then it was like that time to go. Like all the other warnings were just building up. Whatever it was that was telling him to get out, those were those little warnings, those red flags. But eventually when that wall hit, that was it. That was time to go, and they went out of there. They were pretty brave, in my opinion. I would not go out there in the middle of the night like that, in the middle of nowhere, no less, an hour's drive from the closest civilization, and you're the only one out there. No, thank you. Those coyotes alone would be something dangerous, let alone whatever else is out there. By the way, if you haven't heard coyotes at night, I have back when I was over at Nevada doing one of the ghost tours out there, middle of nowhere, but we were in a tour group, and I was out there, and it was just pure darkness, pure black darkness. There's literally nothing on other than the flashlight that I had on. And you can hear them in the background. What's creepy is that You hear them, they see you, but you don't see them. And so that's the other part that freaks me out. But that leads me to this. Next thing involving my own wall or barrier that I ran into of dreadfulness. It happened over there in Tyler, Texas. There was a place there called the Warehouse that was part of a ghost tour. I happened to show up there first because apparently I was the first one there from when the actual ghost hunt started. So my car was the only one there. There was no one else, but the door was open to go into the warehouse, which is apparently a haunted, very, very haunted warehouse. Not only does it have strange things happening in there, but it's supposed to have this little demon looking critter thing that climbs on walls and so on. So, anyways, I went inside and I had my flashlight on, complete pitch black darkness in there again. And then all of a sudden, I hit that wall, that very same wall. This was actually me walking through some mannequins, no less. It was the creepiest feeling I've ever gotten. It was a wall of get the hell out of there. Like it was all of a sudden like turning on a light switch. Nothing and then get the hell out of there type sensation. Like that's how bad it got. And this was me walking through those mannequins. And so I decided I am out of here. I didn't even take pictures. I didn't even record anything, just like these people. The extremeness of that sensation was don't do anything else, just get out of there. And so I did. I got out of that warehouse, went back to the parking lot, and waited in my car for others to start showing up. Later on, did I find this out? Apparently, those very same mannequins that I walked into amongst that darkness are very haunted. They move on their own. People state that they're in one place or in one position, and then they're in a different position afterward. Nobody's touched them, but they move on their own, and it's almost like they're watching you and so on. Whatever is there had apparently inhabited those mannequins, and they were in turn giving me that same sensation. Creepy stuff. But in any case, let me know what you guys and gals think about this story. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.